This is Matt Young from King Parrot, and you're listening to on Spin FM.
G'day punk rockers, metalheads and rock and rollers in Australia and around the world listening on the Moshpit Backstage podcast or on Sin 9.7 FM. This is Stefan from the Moshpit on Sin, and I'm about to interview one of the most formidable vocalists in the Aussie heavy scene. On the line is Matthew Youngy Young from Melbourne's heavy music royalty, King Parrot. We've been trying to score this interview for a long time, and King Parrot's sophomore album released last year, Dead Set, was Moshpit's album of the year for 2015. And we chose the track Home Is Where the Gutter Is as the song and the music video of the year, so we truly are big fans here at the Moshpit. Youngy, it's so exciting to have you on the Moshpit. Welcome.
Thank you, brother. It's great to be on here, and we appreciate your support and everything that you've done for us. It doesn't go unnoticed, man. And it's great to be on the phone with you guys and having a bit of a chat and catching up.
Youngy, what are you up to at the moment? Is it a bit of a day off for you?
I am actually, no. I don't have that many days off. No, I'm actually sending out some merch orders at the moment. Yeah, got a couple more interviews to do this after. Actually, I think there's a few more coming up just after I speak with you. And then, got a pretty busy week, actually. Heading up to Big Sound tomorrow up in Brisbane. Speaking on the heavy metal panel up there with Lockie from The Racket and Rebecca Rialto from Death Proof and a few other people. We're doing that up at Big Sound. And then, obviously, this weekend we kick off with some shows. So we're doing a bit of jamming this week as well. And, it's a pretty hectic one.
Awesome. So you guys have been working hard in a ton of different places. So can you update us what's been happening with the band?
Well, I guess this year we've been quite busy already. We started off the year with a tour with Soulfly over in Europe. And that was, I think it was about 6 weeks worth of shows over there with Soulfly. Really awesome tour and great to sort of get around there with, someone that we really look up to in Max Cavalera. And it was really cool having him sort of take us under his wing a bit and take us to all these new places that we'd never been before. And, the far reaches of Scandinavia and Eastern Europe. And he's such a really, lovely sort of generous guy. And it's kind of bizarre to think that, someone like Max has become a friend of ours and someone that we can call on. And, when we're on tour in the States, we can, call him up and say, hey, Max, we're coming over. And, go and have a spar with him and stuff, which is what we did in June when we were out with Voivod. So, but we did that and then I think we came home and we did a bit of an East Coast run. Did some shows here in Australia. I can't remember where we went, but we did quite a few shows. I think we did about 10 or 12 shows. And then we went over to North America pretty much straight after that, and we did another 6 weeks through North America and Canada with Voivod, which was, an interesting tour. Really kind of bizarre. Wasn't as great as what we kind of hoped in some aspects, and it exceeded our expectations in others. So it was cool to be out with such a legendary band, such an influential band, and a band that sort of stood the test of time, really. Who, I know when I was a kid looking through my magazines and shit and seeing pictures of Voivod and, God, who the hell are these crazy guys, and to see that they're still out there doing it. I think they've been a band for longer than I've been alive, so it's, just a testament to how, skilled and committed those guys are, and obviously had a few lineup changes along the way, but still going strong, still enjoying it, still loving it, still got huge smiles on their faces. And we love being out with them and our friends, Childbite and label mates on Housecore Records. They were on that tour as well, and I think that was about the third time we've toured with Childbite in North America now, so we know those guys really, really well, and they've become great buddies of ours, and such a cool, unique, obscure kind of band that you can't really pigeonhole them. And I don't know if you guys have checked Childbite out yet, but I highly recommend that you do so. They're a super fucking cool band, and so that's kind of been what our year has entailed so far, and now we're we've been on a bit of a break for a couple of months because our drummer Toddy had an injured shoulder. We thought, we could probably go out and do another massive Aussie tour and smash it, keep smashing it out. But we just thought, give him the opportunity to kind of heal up properly and get some acupuncture and some massage and get it right so that when we're sort of heading over to Europe later this year with Obituary and Exodus, that we can have him in tip-top shape. And I think everyone just kind of needed to recharge their batteries a little bit and just sort of settle into a little bit of normalcy just for a couple of months, just to sort of, just stay a little bit grounded. We've been working on some new material, and we're going to get back into the studio. This week we start. So, and also we've got some live Aussie shows coming up too. So we're getting back in the studio. We're going to finish writing the new album and do some demos. And, we're sort of setting ourselves up for a new record next year. So I guess that's kind of where we're at the moment, and it's been good to have a couple of months off, but I'm starting to get itchy feet now, and I'm really keen to get back out on the road and start touring again, so it should be good.
Can you tell us about the new album? Any some exclusive goss for us?
I think we started writing back in January, and we went up to Queensland and hung out with Toddy up in Queensland for a couple of weeks, and we started the writing process, and we probably got about half an album written, I think. We've got a lot of ideas sort of just sitting there in the melting pot. So it's more, I've got tons of lyrics written, and it's more. I think it's more just we just kind of need to get into the room together and be in that space, and we've kind of blocked out, I think, 3 weeks of jamming. So we'll be just locking down in the studio and getting it done, and going to a friend's studio after all the writing's done, and just going to demo everything so we can take a rough copy, I guess, out on the road with us when we go out with Obituary and Exodus in Europe in October and November, and just listen through it, do some more jamming in December and iron out the kinks, and hopefully we'll be ready to record January or February. But I guess, sort of no real secrets to what we do. We just sort of smash it out and do our thing and just keep everything moving in a forward sort of positive motion. And that's always been our thing, is that we've always got something to look forward to and something to keep pushing towards. And I think that it hopefully sort of rubs off and is an attractive sort of quality of the band, hopefully, because, we do like to work hard and we do like to stay busy, and it's something that we've continually done since we put out the first album. And I think this 2 months that we've just had off is probably the longest break we've had. So, we're keen to start working again.
Now, I've seen you guys live twice, and it's an experience and a half for sure that just seems to go absolutely nuts. But when you're obviously carefully preparing and performing, what's the main thing you want the punters to get out of each and every King Parrot gig? I guess
the thing that we've always sort of we've tried to achieve with the live show is that we want it to be intense and energetic and contagious and in your face, from the very beginning when we first started playing and playing to a handful of punters, and we wanted people to walk away and know that they'd seen something and had a really in-your-face experience by coming to a King Parrot show. And as the word sort of got out there that we were putting on that kind of show, I guess it did become contagious for some people, because lots of people kept coming back, and that was really cool for us. And it's been, brilliant for us to have that home country support as we're trying to get it out there internationally, because if we didn't have that support that we have here in Australia, then we wouldn't be able to do all the things that we do internationally. So it's been fantastic to watch it build in Australia and watch the people just grow and grow and go out to these sort of regional places that we tour in a lot and see the same people coming back and more people coming out, and it just blows our minds that this sort of band that we kind of started 5 years ago has become an international touring band. And I guess we really we never had any sort of expectations or goals when we started. We just wanted to have fun, and then as the ball got rolling, I kind of really took on the business aspect of it, and it's gone well. So yeah, going back to your original question, I can't remember what that was, but I can ramble shit for hours. So
I'll be back to a King Parrot show before, because like you said, it's very contagious and it's a lot of fun, and I can tell that as crazy as you guys are on stage and the look in your eye, it's I'm sure there's absolutely lots of careful planning and all that stuff that goes into each and every show, and concentration.
Well, it's probably more so now than what there was initially, because we were just like hell for leather at the start. And I remember, I often say this to people that ask me, that I found in the Melbourne scene that a lot of the punters kind of would stand back for the local band, and they wouldn't get involved, and they wouldn't want to sort of participate in the show because they're just like, oh, this is another sort of local band. And that pissed me off to no end, because I really think that there's some great bands here in Australia, and especially in Melbourne, and it would really piss me off that you go and see a big international band and the crowd goes absolutely bonkers, and then you go to a local gig and everyone just kind of stands there with their arms folded, and it just pissed me off so much. And I was like, why can't people react the same way to a local band as what they do to these international bands? And I guess there's the whole media thing that, and the excitement and the money that goes into the promotion that builds the hype and all that sort of stuff that I guess the local bands kind of don't have. But we were just kind of like, you know what, fuck that. If they don't want to, if they don't want to, get into it, then we're going to make them get into it. And so I would, early on, sort of started jumping into the crowd and pushing people around. I would quite happily knock people's beers out of their hands if they were sort of standing there being lazy, and got me into a bit of trouble. I narrowly avoided a couple of fights and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think it kind of worked initially, and I see a lot of bands doing it now. So it's like, I guess it's the technique that kind of worked. But I don't think it was more about proving a point for us and trying to get people enthused about Australian music, as opposed to just doing it for the fuck of it. I'm going to just run around in the crowd. It was like, fuck you, I am getting in the crowd and you're going to get into this shit. And sure, we don't have the marketing budget, sure, we don't have the recording contracts and all that sort of shit, but we believe in what we're doing and we're a fucking good band, and you will respond to that. and they do now, and it's awesome, and we're really lucky. We've got a great fan base here in Australia, and they come out and support us and buy us stuff, and it's just incredible for us to have that support here. So yeah, we're very grateful for that.
Awesome. So what's the craziest thing you've ever seen at a King Parrot show?
Well, I've seen a lot of injuries over the time. Some of them to myself. I've seen a few like knees go, and I've seen a few shoulders go, and I've seen blood. But one of the this is a horrible story, but one of the most absurd things I saw. We're playing somewhere in Michigan. I think it was. I can't remember the name of the place. Grand Rapids, I think it was. Cool little venue in Grand Rapids. We were out with Weed Eater last year, and doing a show there. And our friends Child Bite were actually on that show as well. And there was this guy standing up the front in the mosh pit, and he just kept spitting on me. And he just was spitting on me the whole show. And I kind of just didn't give a shit at the start. That sort of thing happens. But he was hocking loogies and slagging on me. And so I just went up and grabbed him by the hair, and I didn't know what I was going to do, but he was pissing me off, so I grabbed him by the hair, and he just opened his mouth, and I just hocked a massive loogie and just slagged it into his mouth. And then after that, he just hugged me, and we became friends. And I was like, wow, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen or done. But so that was just, one of those kind of weird things that, being a sort of I guess we're an extreme metal band, but we've got elements of punk and thrash and all that sort of stuff, and we're influenced by some of the more grotesque elements of performance and theme. But that was interesting. It's not quite as absurd as any sort of G.G. Allen stuff, but that's probably about as far as I want to go with it.
Jeez, well, that's how people bond these days, I guess, spinning on each other.
Well, if that's the way it's going, I guess King Parrot has a space and a presence in the future then, if that's the way it's going.
So you're going to perform some of the new songs that you've been working on at upcoming gigs?
Yeah, man, we're definitely going to bust a couple out. We've been playing a couple already, and we're one of those bands that kind of we're not really too precious about that sort of thing. If we got some new stuff and we got some songs that are up to scratch, we'll throw them in the set, give them a bit of a road test, and see how they translate live. And
how are they translating live?
Yeah, we've been getting some pretty good responses. I think there's a couple of songs that we played on the last North American tour that we played pretty much at every single show, and they went down pretty well. There's a couple of we noticed that as we were playing them that there was a couple of things that we could tweak. And we probably haven't had the opportunity to do that yet, and we probably won't get the opportunity to tweak them too much before we start playing live. But that being said, we're still we'll just bust them out as they are, and we'll change them before we get into the studio. And I think that's cool. It's nice, for anyone that pays that much attention anyway, to see, a band sort of bear their sort of new tracks and change them and see them develop and all that sort of thing. So we're not too precious about that, and we're, I think it's cool when you hear new songs and then you go, oh, hey, they played that song at that gig last year, and now it's on the album. It's different or whatnot. So I'm cool with all that sort of thing, and it's exciting to play new songs. It's a real challenge because you might not have everything sort of quite down as you would hope, and it's a challenge to sort of nail it. So, and then it's kind of funny when you fuck it up. So, yeah.
So
anyway,
now you guys are famous or infamous for your music videos. So we got anything else in the works?
We were going to maybe do another one for the Dead Set album, but it's sort of time's been running away on us, and we were so busy at the start of this year, and we've been kind of busy, and we thought we might get a chance to do it over these 2 months, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen for the Dead Set record. So I think we've got a few ideas, and our video guy Dan Farmer's just awesome, and he's always got something up his sleeve. So I think in terms of music videos, we'll certainly have some new stuff when the new album comes out. But I think we're pretty much done and dusted for the Dead Set record. We put out a couple of videos for that, and it was cool. It was fun, and we made a cool video with Phil and all the housecore crew down at their place when we recorded the album, and we got to do one with Dan Farmer when we were back home. So. Yeah, there's never sort of any shortage of ideas and concepts and stuff like that floating around. So we'll just keep at it and keep doing it. It's another sort of great outlet for us to be creative with and show our creative side in another way that sort of doesn't really relate to music, So it's something that we'll always have fun with.
Which song did you plan to have a music video for Dead Set?
None in particular, but maybe you either Need No Savior or Hell Comes Your Way. Yeah. There's actually, someone made a video for Need No Savior. It's on YouTube that someone brought to our attention, and we haven't released it as an official video or anything, but you almost could. It's pretty cool. I don't know if you get a chance, check it out. It was someone just mocked it up and put it on YouTube. It was really quite cool, and I sort of thought at the time when I watched it, maybe we could release that, but no, it is what it is, and it's cool that people want to take the time to do something like that for our music. So.
Now, you've toured overseas extensively with many huge bands. You've been nominated for an ARIA and the Metal Hammer Golden Gods Award, and you teamed up with Pantera, Phil Anselmo's record label. So it's fair to say that King Parrot is an international act at this point, right?
Well, I guess. I mean, we play overseas a bit, so I guess we are. Yeah.
Has it come a bit of a surprise of how much international attention the band's received? Especially those two awards as well.
Yeah, that was really to get nominated for a Golden God Award is pretty cool. I mean, and obviously for an ARIA as well. I mean, I guess we don't really set out to do anything like that. That's not sort of why we do the band. It's to play the music that we love and perform live. That's what we love doing, and anything else that sort of comes along with it is a bonus. So being the sort of band that we are and getting nominated for an ARIA award is I just find it hilarious, actually. And it was cool. Our record label took us up to the awards, and we went in there, and what's his name? The guy that hosted, Andrew G, I think, or Osher Gunsberg, whatever his name is now. And
yep.
He's actually a King Parrot fan, and he was up there hosting the ARIAs, and before they had the cameras roll, and he was quoting shit on the liver and calling us out and stuff. And we were like, what the hell's going on here, And people might remember, if they're old enough, that I think he used to host Channel V and all those sorts of things. So it's just been quite a trip, really, because we never would have thought or expected to have anything like that happen. So I think from here on in, for us, we're going to keep working. We're going to keep doing what we love, and trying to build the band up so that we can do this as be a career band. It's so much fun, and it's great being able to get away and get around America and see America this way and see Canada this way and all of Europe. And we've done Asia a few times now as well. So it's been just an incredible sort of experience. And, I mean, anything more that happens is a bonus, because we've already sort of exceeded any expectations or whatever that we might have had for it. It's been, truly sort of, I don't know, it's kind of strange, but kind of awesome.
Did you attend the Golden God Awards as well?
No. Well, that was over in the UK, so we weren't over there at that time. But I can't even remember who won the award for the category that we were, the best new band or whatever. I can't even remember. I think it was more like a rock band, because I think rock bands get nominated as well. But I mean, even to just get the recognition from Metal Hammer over there, that they was sort of, they had an eye on us. And I think when the Dead Set album came out, they did a big 6-page spread on King Parrot, and it was really cool to be part of that and have their support. And they've been really good. Metal Hammer and Team Rock over there in the UK have been really sort of instrumental in supporting us and making sure that we've got some really good coverage over there, and really nice people too. So yeah.
Let's go back to you, Youngy. So let's go to the young Youngy. How did you get into music?
I've been into music since I was a little kid, since I was 5 or 6. I guess if you want me to go back that far. I think the first cassette I ever bought was George Harrison, Cloud 9. Had that song, I got my mind set on you. You know that song?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my first. But then I had an older cousin who got me into metal and glam rock and stuff, and Poison and Motley Crue, and my first concert I attended was Poison when I was about 8 years old, I think, and then I just slowly developed into all the heavier stuff, Metallica, and then I had an older guy that I was mates with, who was a metalhead, had a copy of Sepultura, Rise, and Slayer Seasons in the Abyss on a cassette tape. So I borrowed the cassette tape off him, put it in my ghetto blaster, taped his taped tape onto my taped tape, and I had like my first taste of extreme metal with those two albums, and I couldn't quite get my head around what was going on with it and why it sounded that way, but it just absolutely intrigued me, and it really got me really interested in doing something and playing music. And I think when I was probably about 8 or 9, I was getting some guitar lessons, like some acoustic guitar lessons, and then I didn't, I did it for about a year, I think, and then when I got to about 13, I had an interest in playing bass guitar, so I got a bass and started a little band with a couple of my friends, and we done a couple of shitty recordings, and then I started this other band, and then we started playing a few gigs and organising our own shows around. I grew up in the Macedon Ranges, a town called Wood End, so we would put shows on around at all the little halls and things like that around town, and actually became friends with a band called Dreadnought, who are still playing, just putting out a new album right now, and they actually gave us our first ever show in a pub in Ballarat, and probably 15 or 16, and being a totally naive little shitbag, just getting up there and playing and getting kicked out of the venue when the venue found out we were only 16. So I've been playing around in the Melbourne band scene and whatnot for many years, played in many different bands, and it was probably only 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe not 7, maybe 6 years ago, that we sort of started getting the first ideas together for doing King Parrot. And at the time, Ari, our guitarist, and our drummer back then, Rizzo, asked me to sing in the band that they were, or scream, or do whatever I do in the band that they were jamming with. So yeah, we jam a lot when we first started, and got the foundations for the band going, and we've had quite a fair few members come and go over the few years, including Rizzo, and we had Matt Skitz drumming for us for a little while, and I think Ari and myself have been kind of the driving force in the band in terms of pushing it to that international level. Ari in terms of his sort of songwriting and riff writing, and we all have a role in the development of the songs and whatnot. But for me, I was always sort of had an interest in the music business and putting shows on since I was younger, and never really been able to sort of embrace the business side of the band as I have with King Parrot, like in other bands that I played in. And I think probably for me, a lot of that came about just by getting clean and sober. I used to party a lot, and when kind of about the time that King Parrot sort of we were kicking on with that, I sort of wasn't having that much fun with the booze and those sort of extracurricular activities. So I decided to pull the pin, because it was starting to really affect me, and to me, it feels like, it's the best thing I ever did, because I was able to really jump into that business side of it and try and run the band to the best of my ability, as opposed to just playing the music and like doing a couple of gigs in Melbourne on the weekends. I really sort of went in head first and made a bunch of mistakes, but was able to learn from those quickly and then get on some better tours. I think one of the most eye-opening things for me was when we scored the tour a few years ago with Die Artie's Murder and Cattle Decapitation and Aversion's Crown, and we all went out with those bands, and the shows were killer, and we had awesome audiences, and we sold a ton of merch, and seeing the way that a band like Die Artie's Murder ran their business and how they did things, that was a real eye-opener for me. And I think straight after that, we went out with Psychroptic. That was really cool too, and Dave Haley's a really good mate of mine, and just seeing the way that Dave's persisted over the years with his band and being able to sort of continually build it and reinvent it and keep putting out great records is it's inspiring, and that's kind of what you've got to try and do, is inspire each other to keep improving. So been really sort of interesting, evolution of being involved in the music industry for myself. So it's good, and I think I'm just getting very close to finishing sort of negotiations with a company called Extreme Management Group out of New York, and I'm going to start managing bands and become an artist manager with them. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on at the moment, and I'm really trying to keep busy and keep working and keep things moving forward for the band and for myself. So it's a good time to be involved in the music industry at the moment, I think, and so many bands, international bands and that out there touring and playing festivals and doing cool stuff. And yeah, I would love to be able to sort of have a helping hand in working with some Aussie bands and working with some overseas bands as well, and helping them build up their business and try and do it their own way, and helping them have the belief that it is possible that you can do it, because it is. It really is. If you really want to do it, it is completely possible.
Awesome. Now, the King Parrot is, of course, a species of parrot in Australia, but on more than one occasion, I've introduced friends to the band, and they comment on your vocal style, and they say stuff like that you do sound like a parrot. Is that why you named the band King Parrot?
No, not really. I have heard that, but it's not really why we named the band King Parrot. It was more a quote from the movie Chopper, I think, and it was a real Aussie kind of slang term, sort of probably a little bit before our time. But I think it was at the scene just before Chopper stabs Keithy George in the jail cell, and Keithy turns around and goes, "You're a parrot. You bash people just to make a name for yourself." Something like that. And we thought that was funny. And a friend of ours, we were watching the movie at a house years ago, and a friend of ours sort of said, "You should just call your band King Parrot." And for some reason, it just stuck. I don't know. We just thought it was a stupid name, and it just sort of stuck for some reason. I don't know why, but that's what we went with. If we had our time again, we probably wouldn't have called it that. But it is what it is, and it's a unique name, and it confuses people, and I think that's cool as well. So it's not your typical sort of metal name. Like when you think about a band like Tool, you would go, "That's a shit name for a band." Like, that is a shit name for a band, but they just grew into it and then made it their own thing. There's plenty of others that I could think of or whatnot, but King Parrot is a name that we can sort of grow into and make it our own sort of thing. And probably by the time we put out our third or fourth albums, that people won't ask us those questions anymore, hopefully.
And that's funny about the sounding like a parrot thing, though, right?
Well, it is, and it was because I think initially when I was first singing, it wasn't as high, especially on the first record. It was like pretty high, and I kind of didn't really know exactly what I was doing back then. And it was when I quit smoking cigarettes that my voice kind of just went up a bit, and I was kind of like, and at the time I remember Ari and Rizzo kind of looking and going, "Wow, that's what's happened there?" And I was like, well, this is kind of what's happening to my voice now that I've stopped smoking cigarettes. And they were just like, well, and I said, this is what it is now. And it's like, well, let's just run with it. So we've just ran with it. I've been always trying to sort of incorporate other elements, and I think there was, probably a bit more of that on Dead Set. And there'll probably be some more development of things on the new record as well, and just trying to sort of incorporate some subtle melodies and things like that in there that you might not be able to sort of notice so much, but just trying to do different sort of things in the extreme metal sort of realm to help us just, I guess, we don't have to do heaps to sort of stand apart, because I think we kind of already do stand apart in a lot of ways anyway, but we want to keep improving. We want to keep trying to do different stuff. So it's always a challenge, and I think just sort of staying stagnant and being happy with what you've done is probably the biggest danger for a band. Yeah, we just want to keep trying to do new stuff and do different things and keep the wheels rolling.
Awesome. Now, you guys, as we mentioned before, doing very well in Australia and overseas. So how different do you find the audiences in other countries like, North America, Scandinavia, the rest of Europe, Asia, and other places?
I would say Australia has some of the best audiences, in my opinion. In terms of audience participation and people going absolutely bonkers, I would say Australia is definitely up there with the rest of the world. Well, probably ahead of the rest of the world in terms of people going crazy at shows. But, that's only for our band. So, we're kind of still a new band in a lot of places. And I think about how many times we've played in, say, Sydney or Brisbane or the Gold Coast or whatnot. We have a good following, and the crowd response is great. But we've played there so much. You go over to America, and there is like 20, 30, 40 times as many places to play. And to continually have that presence there is sort of what's required if you want to build your band. You can't sort of just go over and go, oh, well, we did our American tour and now we're going to be huge. It's like it doesn't work that way. I mean, unless you're an extremely accessible band that you know, King Parrot is certainly not. It takes a lot of work, and you've got to sort of continually hit those markets and get back there and build your fan base up. And it's great to see that there's a lot of Aussie bands doing that at the moment. But I would say, like, some of the places in the States are really cool. Asia is definitely awesome. We've played in Indonesia quite a few times, and they just go crazy over there. They love it, absolutely love it. And the UK has been really good for us. The UK really embrace what we do and have been very supportive. And some of the Eastern European countries, especially Poland, are really, you know, vocal and loud and just excited, you know. Our European record label is based in Poland, and they've done such a great job for us. They're called Agonia Records, and they've done such a great job for us getting the word out. And it was kind of bizarre going to a place like Poland, and it's very, for lack of a better word, I would say Poland seems like a bit of a gloomy kind of place, and it's sort of struggled to recover. And I remember Toddy and I going for a walk around, and it just had this weird, strange vibe compared to the rest of Europe. And when we got to when the doors opened to the show and people were coming in and saying, "Hey, Youngy, photo," you know, and I was just like, "What the hell?" You know, like, it was bizarre to me that people knew my name even over, you know, on the other side of the world in Poland. But you got to tip your hat to the people that are doing the promo and the PR and all that sort of stuff for your band when that sort of thing's happening. Obviously, they're doing a good job, and it's great to, you know, feel that we have fans over there and that we have people that give a shit. It's a really cool sort of feeling. And with this upcoming tour with Obituary and Exodus, we're going back to a lot of those places, and we're going even further into Eastern Europe this time. And I think we're doing Romania and Croatia and maybe Bulgaria, I think, and a couple other places in there. And it's going to be a really cool experience to go even further in there. And, you know, it'd be great to one day, you know, get the chance to play in Russia and all that sort of stuff as well. We got pretty close to Russia the last time. I think we played up in Finland. We played in this place like right up, sort of, you know, a lot further up than Helsinki, and we went right up to the border. We were like 30 minutes from the Russian border, and Soulfly were actually going over there to play, but it is quite difficult to get visas and all those sorts of things to get into Russia. So unfortunately, we couldn't go on that little run with them. But you know, hopefully, we do get to do those sorts of things. It's kind of mind blowing the things that we've been able to see as a result of playing in a metal band. Yeah.
And how about in, you know, the kings and queens of extreme metal, you know, like Norway and Sweden and Finland?
I think some places sort of don't know how to take King Parrot. And, you know, and I totally understand that because it's not a typical sort of metal band. And places like Norway and Sweden and that, they do their metal very proper. And we do our metal very ochre, I guess. and I guess seeing a dude like running around with his ass hanging out and blowing snot and slag all over the place and screaming in your face and things like that isn't probably what they're used to sort of seeing. I think for the most part we had a pretty good response in Norway. We've got quite a few fans up there, and Denmark was pretty cool too. We only did Aarhus last time, but this time we're going to Copenhagen as well. Sweden were a little bit standoffish with us, but you know, that's okay. We're not stopping. You know, we're going to keep going back to these places, and we're going to keep touring. And we've got good people that work for us now in terms of booking agents and labels and things like that. So we're just going to keep working at it and doing the best that we can. And I think one of the things about King Parrot is as well that we've kind of been like a bit of a band, and while we don't have the huge fan base or anything like worldwide just yet, people from the bands like us, and that's really cool to us, and that is going to sort of open up the opportunities for us to continue to be able to tour and hopefully build our own fan base, because these guys, like Phil and Phil Anselmo and Max Cavalera and Desi Leach from Killswitch Engage and like Chuck Billy from Testament and the Obituary guys and stuff that, people that we've sort of become friends with. And, Gene Hoglan has, come to our shows and stuff. He was at our show in San Diego and he's getting Dark Angel going. He's like, man, when I get Dark Angel going again, I mean, when we're touring and stuff, I really want you guys to come out on the road with us. And it's like, I mean, is that really Gene Hoglan saying that? So, just things like that. It's just, it boggles the mind. I mean, yeah, some of the things. I mean, Jason Newsted came to our show in San Francisco, and when we played with Voivod, and obviously has a long history with Voivod because he joined Voivod after Metallica, and it was just so bizarre, like getting off stage after playing at a legendary venue in San Fran, Slims, and where all those bands sort of cut their teeth, and walking off stage and Jason Newsted standing right there, and I'm just like, what the fuck? So, I think that is a good sign for us, and will hopefully help us to be able to continue to build and grow.
Speaking of growing, I mean, King Parrot is doing so well. You seem to have grown really quickly. So what is it, do you think, that the fans are responding to? I mean, you guys don't really have like a set genre. You're almost like a mixture of hardcore punk and sludge metal, extreme metal genres, grindcore. Why is King Parrot just so huge now?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say that we're so huge. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if that's the perception, then that's cool. It's hard, when you're sort of in the band, I don't sort of see it that way, but we have a good following, and that's important to us, and I think we can sort of slip into some bigger kind of venues and stuff now, which is really cool. But we still also love getting into the smaller venues too, and playing those regional shows to like 100, 200 people, and just seeing the appreciation that those people have when a band comes to their town and they want to party and they want to, have a great experience. So, sorry, what was your question again?
So, like, why do you think you guys are doing well? Is it the mixture of the sound? Is it, I guess, a combination of the good PR? Is it the fact you were saying before you're a bands? There's like the personalities of the bands, the music videos. You're creating some sort of media hype and following. Is that why King Parrot is getting bigger and bigger? And of course, the quality of the songs, of course.
Well, yeah, I think it's a combination of everything, obviously, but it's one of those things where we do have characters in our band. I mean, Slash is a huge character for us. and Squeeze, our other guitarist, is like one of the most eccentric, sort of bizarre dudes you would ever meet. The loveliest guy ever, and awesome person. And Ari's kind of intense, and Toddy's a character as well, and I do my thing. And we have all those sort of elements in the band, and I think we let the people in the band be themselves. And I think that really translates in all elements of the music, in the videos, in the live performance, and we're just being ourselves. We're not trying to sort of be a certain image or a certain way or anything like that. We're just trying to be ourselves, and we don't want to sort of put too much on. We just want to put on a fun, extreme metal show that we would like to go and see ourselves, as opposed to trying to be something that we're not, which you do see that a lot in the metal scene. You do see people trying to be a certain way or also try and emulate a European band or emulate an American band. And it's like, well, we're not a European band. We're not from Europe. We're not from America. We're Australian, and this is what we're going to do. And we're influenced by a lot of Aussie stuff as well, and it goes right back to some of the, AC/DC and some of the early Aussie punk stuff, and then the metal scene in the 90s in Melbourne. Like, we were kind of close with all that stuff growing up, because we're not spring chickens as such. We're a little bit sort of older dudes, a newer band, but older kind of dudes. And we really, for my part anyway, we really wanted to have that sound and that approach as an integral part of the band, and be able to take that out internationally. A lot of my favourite bands from the 90s, like Damaged and Blood Duster, Bremelin, Bean Flipper, Extremis, and those sort of bands never really got the opportunity to tour internationally that much. We were really like, I love that sound and that approach and the way that the way that those bands did things, and I still listen to and love those bands really dearly. And I think for me, it was important that we sort of captured some of that and brought it into the King Parrot mindset, and then and go, this is something different. This is Australian, and this is something different. And we really hope that sort of translates, and I'd like to think that that's sort of part of why we've sort of had a bit of success.
There is no band that sounds like King Parrot. If you listen to your first two albums, I can't think of a band that really sounds like you guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the goal, isn't it? You don't want to sort of, I mean, especially in America at the moment, man, there's so many bands that sound similar, and everyone's going for that same drum sound, and it's like there's a million deathcore bands out there that all sound the same to me. And I mean, you have to be super good at what you do to stand aside and stand alone and do your own thing. And that's the important thing for us, is that we sound like King Parrot, and we sound like our own band, and we do our own thing. And it's cool that there's bands out there playing a specific genre and doing it this way or that way or whatever, but it's never really been what we're about. It kind of makes me feel a bit sad, I guess, in a way, when you see Aussie bands sort of trying to do things like that, and you're kind of like, man, okay, I get it. I see what you're trying to do. I understand it. But do you know, if you're going to try and do this, and you're going to try and make something for yourself, and you want to tour and stuff, that there's 10 times as many bands over the pond doing exactly the same fucking thing, and you've got to, you're better off going for your own thing. You're better off going for your own sound and your own style and your own noise. To me, that's really important, and something that King Parrot will always strive to be is original and our own band. So, and yeah, I guess if there's anything that you can pass on to aspiring bands, is that go and do your own fucking thing, have your own sound, and don't just follow whatever's like trendy and fashionable at the moment. I guess.
Now, I absolutely love your music videos, which I said before, I think is part of the band's success as well. And your bass player Slats has some memorable lines. So if I could just play a couple of my favourites.
Call your electrician. Your door's fucked.
And this one.
Here's your fucking dollar. Watch these windows, cockneck.
Charming.
Never gets old. Do people yell those quotes across the street or at shows?
Constantly.
Really?
Constantly. Yeah, we're never going to live any of that shit down. It's cool. It's fun. We enjoy it, and it's cool. I mean, one of the weirdest things, I think we're playing in Warrnambool on Friday night, and it must have been a year or two ago now, and some kid bought some Bonox into the mosh pit, and it just started throwing Bonox everywhere, and it got all over everyone, and that shit absolutely stinks, and it was horrific. Like, the whole venue just absolutely stunk, and oh man, it was we all had it splattered all over us. We all smelt and looked horrible, and it's not a great product, that. But I can't tell you how many jars of Bonox I've signed.
Yeah, I imagine those two slats lines are they the most common? Those two?
No, I would say anything from
from shit on the liver.
Yeah, geez, I've had a good day, and don't ruin a good day, and all those sort of, those ones, and they were all kind of pretty commonly yelled out. I mean, I guess we get messages and stuff on Facebook and that all the time, saying shit like that all the time. We also get a lot of photos from people that drive past King Parrot Creek and take photos of that and send it to us, and throwing the horns and stuff.
King Parrot Creek, where's that?
I think it's somewhere out. I'm not exactly sure where it is. It's somewhere out in the woods, maybe out sort of out East Melbourne sort of way. Yeah, so yeah, we get a lot of that.
Yeah, and obviously the Aussie-ness of the band, that's probably part of the success as well. Here's another quick line.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, we get a bit of that. Yeah, definitely.
That's so great. All right, so now you guys got your gear stolen in Chicago and fans donated money to you. So you managed to rebuild?
Yeah, we had our van was broken into, and we lost a bunch of stuff, and yeah, it was actually an incredible experience that when that happened last year, because it was such a hollow feeling when you're on the other side of the world in a city like, a massive city like Chicago, and we were sort of getting rushed around by the venue, and there was no parking at the venue, and we had to sort of drive to the venue. We loaded in our gear. So we didn't actually, it wasn't our gear that was stolen. We had a whole bunch of money stolen, and personal belongings as well. And yeah, basically we drove to the venue. We loaded all our gear in. Myself and someone else that was with us, I think we went and parked the vehicle while the other guys were setting up. We had to sound check straight away, so we had to go and park in this neighbourhood. We parked right near a school. We thought it was, we're parking near a school. It'll be maybe safe, it might be a reasonable sort of neighbourhood. We had to go straight back and do sound check, and then we locked it all up, stupidly left the safe in there because we were in a hurry and all that, and there was a few, GPSs and phones and I think a computer as well, perhaps. We got back to the venue, and then after we played, we went back to the van, and yeah, someone just smashed a window in and taken everything. And we were kind of like, oh fuck, we've lost pretty much over I think it was about a week and a half's worth of performance income and merchandise income. Yeah, it was a fucking horrible feeling. And we spoke with our management and a couple of other people and said, look, we don't know what to do. We have no idea what we're going to do about this. And they said, well, why don't you ask the fans if they would be willing to donate to help get you back on your feet? And within 24 hours, we pretty much recouped everything that we lost. And we were just, to have that worst feeling ever of, oh, fuck, we've just had so much money stolen. And then to have it pretty much recouped within 24 hours it just sort of kind of restored our faith in humanity a little bit. It was incredible, man. I just, I can't explain how that made us feel. It was really cool. And, it sucks that shit is continually fucking happening to bands all over the place. It happened to our friends and Black Crown Initiate just recently after they'd been on tour with Near Obliviscaris, actually. And, they had all their passports and money and all this stuff stolen just out of there. And people are just, it's not like we're rich people, If you're going to rob someone, go and rob someone that's got shitloads of money. We're like all sitting there eating shit food. Any money that we make, really, it goes back into what we're doing. We're not wealthy people or anything like that. Everything that we're doing is because we love doing it, and it just seems obviously people that rob people and very needy or addicts or whatever they are. But it's just stuff that happens to bands, and that bands get targeted because we just trying to do what we love doing and playing for people that like the music, and it sucks that we get targeted. But touch wood that it doesn't happen to us again, because or too many other bands, because it's a really horrible feeling, especially when people like go and steal your passport and shit. It's like, why do you need to steal my passport? For God's sakes!
They were stolen.
Ours weren't stolen, but the guys from Black Crown Initiate had all their passports stolen.
Oh God!
And they're going to Europe really soon, in a month or two. And yeah, Andy Thomas, the guitarist from Black Crown Initiate, is a really good friend of mine, and he was just heartbroken, and that had happened. But I think they've been lucky enough, and to have a similar sort of thing happen that happened with us, is that people turned around and donated, and I think they're able to get back up on their feet again. So it's pretty cool that there's people out there and they've got that kindness in their hearts to help out.
Yeah, look, I'm pretty sympathetic because when I was in San Diego, our van got robbed as well. I mean, I didn't get anything personally stolen. They left my shit $5 jumper that I bought from Kmart or Target or something in the van. You know what? It wasn't the worst thing that could have happened to you in Chicago. At least you didn't get shot.
Well, there's that as well. Yeah, I mean, a friend of mine actually from Chicago messaged me the other day, and he witnessed someone getting shot down the road from his house. And it's like, what's going on in the world these days? It's crazy. It's just crazy, some of the shit that happens. And I think the way that the Americans are with their guns and all that sort of stuff, that they just can't seem to let go, and they don't want to. And even most, I mean, there's certainly some people who do, but I think for the majority, they kind of think that guns are a necessity. You
and I seem to do okay, Youngy.
Yeah, I think I guess a lot of it comes from fear, and there's plenty of fear in the US, and I mean that's the only sort of logical sort of explanation I can seem to think of, is that there's so much fear in the United States that people think they have to defend and all that, whereas I think there needs to be sort of it'd be nice to see a bit of a shift in consciousness or something, that that people didn't have to think that way and think that they needed something that is primarily designed to kill anything. That's what a gun's there for. It's to kill. And that's what they were made for. It is what it is, but I don't think it's going to change anytime soon in the US. So.
All right, well, watch yourself when you're in there.
Well, I mean, we're always very careful, man. We just do our thing, We play our shows and we tour, and we try and stay as safe as we can, and we don't really see too much of that. And I think for the most part in the metal community, it's pretty friendly, and I mean, we've certainly seen guns and all that sort of stuff, and we've even shot them and stuff over there and whatnot. But it's not something I really enjoyed or anything like that. It was just something that happened, and an opportunity that came up and whatnot. But I'm not really a gun fan at all.
Yeah. Now, you've worked with Phil Anselmo. I know you're a huge fan of him and Pantera. So what was that experience like?
Yeah, it was cool, man. I mean, Phil's been a good supporter of us, and I mean, when I was growing up and stuff, I was a big Pantera fan, as most kids that were into metal at that time were as well. And I was probably like 13 or 14 when I went to the concert when they played here in Melbourne the first time, and it was a pretty amazing sort of experience for a lot of kids that were growing up in the metal scene then, and it was sort of like a gateway band for me to get into the more sort of extreme stuff that I like now. And look, Phil's been awesome to us. He's given us a lot of opportunities, and took us out on tour with Down at the end of 2014, and then after that tour we went and recorded the album at his place and at his studio and stayed with him for about a month. And a few months later, we went out on tour with Superjoint, and he's just been very generous to us. He's been very hospitable, and he and his partner Kate are just really great people and have been fantastic to us and supported our band, probably just as much, if not more, than anyone else. And it's kind of weird to think that guy likes our band.
He's got a persona, doesn't he? Like that big deep voice, kind of like a tough guy attitude. Yeah, he's got like a persona kind of thing. But you're saying he's like really kind and generous and down to earth.
From what I've seen and feel, absolutely, yeah. I mean, people can twist it and spin it and make it whatever they want. But the dude that I know has been awesome to us, and he's absolutely, he's a certain way. And I mean, a lot of the people in the south of America are a certain way and whatnot, but he's a really, really great dude and been very nice to us. And I don't have a bad word to say about him, that's for sure.
So one of the shows coming up is Unify next year. How excited are you for that?
Well, that'll be an interesting one for us, I think. Our agent got us on the bill, and I think we're going to probably be more one of the diverse bands on the lineup, I guess. We're certainly not... I mean, obviously we're not on the Unified label or anything like that, but we do know the people there, and we have done a little bit of merch stuff and things like that with them in the past. But they want us to play at the festival, and it's a cool festival. I've heard great reports from it from some of my friends, and I think just having the opportunity to play in front of that many people at any one time is awesome, and why not do it? I mean, I don't think we're going to be everyone's cup of tea. I don't think in comparison to some of the other bands that are playing, we're probably on the more extreme end of the scale. But I think it's going to be fun, and I think we will make the most of it, as we do with every opportunity that we get to play. So, yeah, I can't wait. It's always fun to play those sort of outdoor festivals. We had a great time doing Soundwave in the last 2 years of its existence. So, yeah, good times, man. It's going to be cool. You going down for that one?
Yeah, I will, actually.
Yeah, it should be really good.
How do you adjust the set list according to who you're playing to? I'm not talking about like length, but like some of the songs you play. Like I say, songs like Like a Rat, I guess, might be a bit more accessible than some of your other songs. And does this change like depending on when you going back to places you've been to a lot, like around Australia, especially the East Coast, compared to when you play some of the places in the United States or other places for the first time, or festivals as well, where a lot of people may not know you? We try and change it up a little bit, but I guess when your songs are kind of as short as what ours are, and when you've only got 2 albums, we kind of sort of stick to the ones that we know work a little bit. But we do change it up for each tour and each time we get out there and play and whatnot. So I don't know, man. It's one of those we're just kind of who we are, so we don't really have to change it too much. I mean, you know that every time King Parrot gets up on stage, there's going to be blast beats, there's going to be grind, and there's going to be mayhem, and it doesn't really matter what songs we kind of play, because we're not really one of those bands that have any sort of radio hits. So it's we try and play as much as we can. Sometimes, obviously you get a 30-minute set sometimes when you're on tour with an international band or something, or you might get 40 minutes or whatnot, but then when we're headlining, we'll try and expand it out to maybe an hour and play more. So that's probably what we'll be doing on this upcoming Aussie tour anyway, so yeah. Do you play covers?
No, we don't really. Sometimes we bust out Nervous Shakedown by AC/DC, but...
That's a bit of an odd choice.
It's sound check or whatnot, but but no, we haven't really ever been a band that does too many covers or anything like that. But certainly the idea's been tossed around, and we may do that moving forward. But at the present time, we haven't really done too many covers now.
So you're a bit of a business guru. I mean, you're doing a online music business lecture for Music Business Facts with Rodney Holder. So is your lectures better than getting a business degree?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But
you've got cred.
Well, I guess we've kind of made something work. We've made something sustainable for ourselves, and yeah, I wouldn't say it's I would say that you would get something out of it if you were in a band and you want to record and you want to tour overseas and you want to do all the stuff that is required to be in a band and learn about sort of promotion and marketing things and making plans and all that, and setting up your business in a way that can function, and having a good accounting and all those sort of things. So I would say that if you wanted to do those sort of things, then doing the course that I made with Rodney would be of benefit to you. But for anything else, I would go and get a business degree.
Speaking of which, have you guys all quit your part-time jobs or full-time jobs? Is King Parrot like your main thing, and does it get good income, or are you still living off 2-minute noodles?
Yeah, we're still sort of eating 2-minute noodles a little bit. Yeah, there's not a whole heap of. I mean, I guess the thing is, the more you work, the more you plan, the more money you're making. So obviously, if we're having 2 months off, there's no income coming in really. So we like to play a lot. But I think for the most part, the other guys still do a bit of work and stuff here and there, try and pick up odd bits and pieces when we're back in town. But we try and have the band everyone sort of takes a little bit, and it's not huge amounts or anything like that, and we're certainly not, as I said before, we're certainly not rich or anything, but we're doing okay. We're doing all right. We're not dead. We're not stupid. We're in terms that we feel like, I'm in a band now that tours internationally. I'm too good to go and work. We're not, those sort of people. So we're the kind of people that just we do what we have to do to survive. And we're in it for the long haul, and we want to keep making this music and keep doing this band for as long as we can. So it's one of those things that it's fine. I mean, I know dudes that play in bands that are much bigger bands than us that are still working and doing all those sort of things, and you just got to do what you got to do to get by. And I guess that's why I kind of really taken a interest in the management sort of aspect of it, because that's something that appeals to me and something that I feel like I can help others with. So that's kind of what I've been doing as well.
Awesome. Now we'll end the interview with the lightning round, and we'll shoot at you as many quick questions as possible, and see how quick you are on your feet. You ready for the lightning round, Youngy?
Oh, all right. Hold on. I usually suck at this sort of thing, but I'll give it my brain's not sort of. If you had done it like at night time, I would have been better. But all right, let's do it. All
right. Get that adrenaline running. All right, Youngy, what's your favorite King Parrot song?
I would say Hell Comes Your Way.
And what's your least favorite?
Punisher.
So what is the one King Parrot song you couldn't do a show without?
Shit on Liver.
What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I had a smoothie and a cup of tea.
What's your favorite? This is a three-parter. So what's your favorite venue in Melbourne or Victoria?
Smaller venue, the Tote. Bigger venue, 170 Russell.
And outside Victoria, like around Australia?
I really like Amps in Perth.
And internationally?
Well, playing at the Fillmore in San Francisco was pretty cool.
Your favorite band right now?
A band called Big Business. I've been listening to a bit. Yeah, from the States. Guys, sort of half of the Melbournes. Their other sort of band that they do. Really awesome band.
Your favourite band of all time?
AC/DC.
Ah, yes. Great answer. Speaking of which, AC/DC with Axl, yay or nay?
Yay.
Awesome. Well, that's it for the lightning round, so we'll end the interview there. So King Parrot have quite a few tour dates lined up in Victoria. September 16th is their Melbourne show at the Suki Lounge. Then September 17th at the Music Man Megastore Bendigo, which is at risk of closure, by the way. Is that right?
It is, man. Yeah, it is. It has been at risk of closure, and that's what we're trying to sort of help them raise a bit of awareness about. Not only our show, but the fact that the venue may not even exist anymore unless it gets some support. So we're really trying to bolster that Bendigo show and make sure that we can get as many people there as possible and build the hype for it, because it's really important that we have these regional Victorian music venues around, and for people to go and see live music. I think so many people are just missing out these days, staying home and watching TV and just being boneheads. It's like, get out and see your band. Go and see. It's fun. It's rad. Like I don't understand how it's not more relevant than what it is here in Australia. It seems to sort of have lots of legs in Europe, and the US and Canada and stuff really get it, and sometimes Australia gets it, but it sort of goes and ebbs and flows, and especially someone like Bendigo that's got such a huge population. Get out there and support your venues and give bands and musicians somewhere to play. It's so important.
Of course. Anyway, next year will be on January 13th, 14th and 15th is the Unify Festival, so you can check out King Parrot there. King Parrot's latest album, Dead Set, is out now. It was Moshpit's 2015 Album of the Year. That's better than the ARIA and the Golden God Awards. Right, Youngy?
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, no, we'd much prefer to win that than any other crappy award.
Exactly. So definitely go check out that album, Dead Set, and look forward to a new King Parrot album sometime in the future. Youngy from King Parrot, thanks so much for joining us on the Moshpit on SYN. Do you have a message for the younger fans?
Absolutely. Get out to some shows, support the local scene, support your Australian bands, buy the merch. Clearly, keep listening to SYN FM and doing the right thing.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Matt.
Thank you very much, brother. Have a good one. Thanks for your support.
No worries. All right. Thank you. We'll chat to you soon.
See you, mate.